I started my trip around East Cape on a member's property above Opotiki. Omayo Bay, Tikaha, Whanarua Bay, Waihao Bay, a great fishing spot, Hicks Bay is the most northerly point of the East Cape region. It used to be a port, but not anymore. I first saw it in the early 80s and it was in this state then. I took a side track up to the Waihiriri Falls. From the other side of Hicks Bay, I discovered a track going down to the beach, so down I went. You have to stop at Te Araroa and admire this massive pōhutukawa tree and read up about all the Maori significance attached to it. From Te Araroa there's a road around to East Cape. When I got there, I discovered there were 800 steps up to the lighthouse, so I decided to go cross country and watch the sunrise from there. This is heading back to Te Araroa. I was told by a fellow traveller not to miss this lovely church, but unfortunately I was too early and when I got there it was still locked. It was a tribute to Suraparananatha. He commanded much admiration from Maori and Pākehā. When I got to Tupuia Springs, I discovered you could only get in to see the springs if you were booked into the hotel, so I didn't bother. I went on to Tokomaru Bay. Anaura Bay looked nice, so I went down and met up with the Dutch accountant and his wife, who I'd met previously at East Cape. Then I went on to Tolaga Bay, had lunch there while I was studying the Long Wharf. The next morning was cold and drizzling, so a soak in the ancient sea water at Moriri Springs was on the cards. It bubbles up through a fault line at 250,000 litres per day. It's very hot, has to have a lot of cold water added to it. Then I drove through some very hilly sheep country to get to Lake Tiniroto. It was not very spectacular, quite ordinary in fact. I had heard about the Shine Falls, so I turned up the road. It was 16 kilometres in and then a 2-hour walk to get to the falls. However, it proved to be worth it. The falls were lovely. They're 58 metres high. I followed the Waimarama Heritage Trail and came across these falls on the way. It was a fairly easy walk into the Tiaro Falls, but then uphill all the way to the Tangio Falls. Next stop was at Hooker Falls at Taupo. This helicopter was bringing a guest into the resort. And this lovely home belongs to the owner of the resort. Driving towards Tikawiti, I came across this walk into a magnificent old totara tree. At the end of the main street in Tikawiti, I found these Japanese gardens, which were very well done. They've named Tikawiti the shearing capital of the world. After morning tea in the park across the road, I explored the Maori influence in the main street. It's well done. Then on towards Otorohanga, exploring the Waitomo Caves district on the way. This natural bridge was very, very spectacular. This was different. I'd not seen this before. This was the information centre where Viv's daughter directed me to the Ed Hillary walkway. Oh, what memories this brought back. Who could forget the chicks? I still use some of Aunt Daisy's recipes. I've got all her recipe and handy hints books. Some of the kids didn't like the school milk, but I loved it. Thank you, that was well done. I enjoyed it. Then it was back to checking out the tracks in the Waitomo Caves area. I didn't want to wait around and pay to go into the caves that have been developed for the public, so I explored the walks on my own. I reckon that this was better than going inside the big caves where the public are encouraged to go. I hadn't done this before. These trees were all labelled. There was a huge area for camping, but these boys didn't see it in the dark at 11 o'clock at night and proceeded to cook a meal right outside my window. On now to kawhia. I thought I'd save a lot of miles and took the coastal road through to Raglan. That was a big mistake. The road was absolutely atrocious. Now for the 261 steps up again. I didn't go far on this walk, it was all pretty boring, so I turned around and came back after about half an hour. However, this next one was a very interesting one and I enjoyed every minute of it. I had been intending to visit Hamilton Zoo for many years. It was started off by a girl I went to school with at Tirapa Primary and her husband many years before. She's since passed away with cancer and he relinquished it to the Hamilton City Council some years ago. It was well worth the visit. I enjoyed spending a night with Marin and Tracy came around to see me. Then Rodney and I went on to the Pacifica Festival. I still had a bit of time left, so I headed north, and at Muriwai Beach I stayed overnight with a gentleman who repairs organs. He had worked on just about all the organs at the museum that I'd seen last year. He told me about the gannet colony further down the road, so after a walk over his farm, I went down to investigate. That was great. The chicks were still very young and downy, real little puffballs. I resumed my travels through the Waipua forest, camped overnight near the visitors centre, and then carried on the next morning. I walked into the Four Sisters and viewed them from all angles. I went in to have a look at the second largest cowrie. Before going in to have another look at the king of them all, Tani Mahuta. Next stop was Whangarei. This is not a reflection, it's a beautiful painting. My last bushwalk and back to Australia.